All right, so imagine this moment when the golden glow of a soft October morning stretches across Hollywood Hills, and the city wakes up not just to another day of glitz and glamour, but to something more heartfelt, because today it's Ryan Reynolds' 49th birthday, and across social media, feeds news outlets and celebrity circles. The air feels warmer somehow, as messages of love, admiration, and gratitude pour in. Yet one shines a little brighter than the rest, because it comes from Blake Lively's sister Robyn Lively, who with words full of sincerity calls Ryan good to his core, and instantly the world smiles because we all know those moments when celebrity headlines pause the chaos and remind us that behind the lenses and spotlights, there are genuine human connections like this one. And it's almost poetic, really, how Ryan and Blake have built a partnership that embodies humor, love, and authenticity in an industry that often tests every fiber of it, and Robyn's words echo something timeless about how kindness and grounded energy can ripple outward far beyond red carpets or blockbuster premieres. And when you think about Ryan's journey from his early days on Canadian television to becoming one of Hollywood's most beloved actors, producers, and entrepreneurs, you can't help but feel inspired because his story isn't just about fame. It's about evolution, perseverance, and a refusal to lose touch with the laughter that first made people fall in love with him, and that same laughter still shows up in interviews, in his playful banter with fans, in the way he turns a serious campaign like his aviation gin ads into something filled with joy and charm that never feels forced. And that's something people notice, fans especially, because the best celebrities aren't distant. They're mirrors of our best selves. And that's what makes Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds such a power couple. Not in the glamorous sense alone, but in the emotional, one where they use their visibility for good, from their charitable initiatives to their outspoken advocacy for children's hospitals, women's rights, and environmental efforts. They carry the weight of fame like a promise, not a privilege, and when Robyn praises Ryan as good to his core, you realize she's not just talking about his public persona, but the man who shows up for family, who celebrates Blake not as competition, but as a muse, and equal the kind of love that feels rare and refreshing in a space where image often outpaces intimacy. And speaking of love, it's incredible how many celebrity stories begin like seeds planted in unexpected soil. Take Taylor Swift, for instance, whose journey from a small-town girl writing songs on her bedroom floor to one of the world's most influential artists reminds us that authenticity isn't something you find at fame's peak, but something you protect along the way. And Blake and Taylor's friendship perfectly represents that balance between strength and vulnerability. Two women at the top of their fields choosing to lift each other rather than compete. And as Blake styles herself effortlessly in fashion week after fashion week with looks that fuse old Hollywood, with modern confidence, she becomes a visual storyteller, reminding fans that fashion too can be a form of emotional expression, and that narrative ties back into what Robyn said about Ryan being good to his core because goodness has many expressions. Kindness, resilience, creativity, honesty, and every great celebrity who lasts in the ever-changing storm of public attention carries one or more of these traits. Take Zendaya, for example, another name whose grace and poise mirror the quiet confidence of icons before her. She started as a Disney star, but transformed into a global ambassador for elegance and social awareness through her roles, through her voice, through her ability to make young fans feel seen and empowered, and in some poetic way, all these stories weave together like one long cinematic journey about the heart behind fame, about the people who remind us that success doesn't have to dim your humanity. And so, as the day continues with tributes to Ryan Reynolds flooding timelines, fans reminiscing about Deadpool moments and funny interviews with Will Ferrell, and the simple fact that a man once known for his cheeky humor has become a symbol of grounded leadership, it makes sense to widen the lens and look at Hollywood through this theme of kindness. Because kindness is currency in a world of headlines and likes, and few stars understand that balance better than those who've been through challenges, who've had to rebuild and rise again, like Selena Gomez, who has turned her vulnerability into power through her documentary and mental health initiatives, showing that transparency is strength, or like Justin Baldoni, whose work beyond acting has centered on redefining masculinity and emotional openness. And that's the beauty of what this generation of stars represents, a shift from performance to purpose, from aesthetic to authenticity. And Blake and Ryan's story fits right at the center of that evolution, because together, they've created a legacy not just of fame, but of meaning. They remind fans that partnership doesn't mean perfection. It means laughter shared through chaos, support through long days, and being each other's cheerleaders when the world gets loud. And even Robyn Lively's comment, though simple, carries that quiet power that says, hey, goodness still matters. And when we think about other celebrity couples who inspire that same kind of admiration, like John Legend and Chrissy Teigen, who openly share their journey with honesty and humor, or David and Victoria Beckham, who have balanced decades of fame with loyalty and family, you start to see a pattern that fame may glitter on the surface, but its glow lasts only when it's fueled by something real. So maybe that's why stories like these resonate. They remind us that Hollywood isn't just lights. It's layers of people dreaming, building, failing, trying again, and through it all, holding on to kindness and purpose as their compass. And when the cameras fade and the celebrations end, what's left isn't the applause but the legacy of hearts touched by genuine goodness. And in that sense, Robyn's words about Ryan being good to his core feel like the perfect opening chapter to a much larger story about how compassion still defines greatness in the modern celebrity world. And as the sun dips below the Hollywood hills, casting that golden glow across Los Angeles, the story of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively continues to remind everyone watching that fame doesn't have to harden you. It can soften you. It can humble you. It can give you a platform to amplify laughter and light, and that's what makes this couple so magnetic and so loved. Because while the headlines may highlight their style moments or witty exchanges, what people truly connect with is the sense of realness that never fades. The feeling that Ryan is still that grounded guy who loves to make people laugh, and that Blake is still that radiant presence whose kindness touches everyone around her. And in that moment, Robyn Lively's praise of Ryan for being good to his core feels even more profound because it encapsulates the truth that kindness at home radiates outward into everything else. It's the core energy that shapes art, relationships, and even fame itself. And when you think of their broader journey, it becomes a tapestry woven with laughter, resilience, and purpose. Because Blake and Ryan have never treated fame as an end goal, but as a bridge toward connection, toward impact, and toward using their influence to champion causes that actually matter, from mental health advocacy to climate action and community upliftment. And what's fascinating is how that energy seems to ripple outward, inspiring other stars to lead with that same authenticity. Think of Zendaya, again, whose elegance and sincerity mirror that quiet strength of a new generation, or Taylor Swift, who has mastered the art of turning personal stories into global anthems that connect millions, or Beyoncé, who moves through fame like a storm, and a symphony at once, channeling power and purpose in every beat of her career. Each of them reminds us that success is richer when it's shared, when it uplifts, and when it leaves a trace of inspiration in its wake. And in between their stories, we find moments that restore our faith in what fame can be like when a celebrity pauses to speak up for a cause, or a fan shares how an artist's words helped them heal. That's where the magic happens, because fame without purpose fades fast, but fame tied to humanity endures, and Ryan's own comedic genius laced with sincerity gives that idea life. He has this rare gift of making humor a safe space for honesty, turning awkward truths into laughter and laughter into connection. And that's probably why people gravitate to him, because he reminds us not to take life too seriously, to find joy even in chaos. And when paired with Blake's timeless warmth, it becomes a story about balance. The dance between strength and softness, the way love can anchor even the wildest dreams. And speaking of balance, you can see the same thread in so many of today's stars who've learned how to navigate an industry built on extremes. Take Selena Gomez, whose courage to discuss mental health has shifted global conversations, or Harry Styles, whose gentle confidence has redefined masculinity and inspired millions to embrace individuality, or Zendaya, again, who consistently uses her platform to champion diversity and equality while maintaining humility that feels rare and radiant. And somewhere between these stories is the echo of Robyn Lively's sentiment. Because what she said about Ryan doesn't just describe him, it describes a movement, a quiet rebellion against cynicism, a reminder that being good still matters, being compassionate still counts, and integrity isn't outdated. It's revolutionary. In a time where public perception can change in seconds, those who stay true to themselves become timeless, like Blake, who continues to build not only a career but a legacy of elegance and empowerment, and Ryan, who continues to blend artistry with authenticity, making people laugh while subtly changing how we see fame. And maybe that's why their love story feels cinematic, not because of perfection, but because of persistence. Two people choosing each other, choosing joy, and choosing kindness day after day. And when you think about other stars who embody that spirit, like Chrissy Teigen and John Legend, who share their joys and struggles openly, or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, whose gratitude for his fans and family fuels his every move, You realize Hollywood's most enduring icons are those who never forget where they came from, who treat kindness as their true currency, and who turn every challenge into a chance to grow. And as the narrative drifts from Los Angeles to London to Seoul to Paris, we see that this theme of goodness transcends borders. Artists like Blackpink using their platform to promote self-love, or BTS encouraging fans to speak themselves. These are reminders that celebrity culture has evolved. It's no longer just about image, it's about influence used wisely, and when you loop back to Blake and Ryan, it feels like they're part of that new era of meaningful fame where joy and generosity define greatness, and Robyn's praise serves as a quiet celebration of that, a sister witnessing firsthand that fame hasn't changed the heart of the man her sister loves. And as fans scroll through posts and tributes that day, they don't just see a birthday, they see a reflection of something hopeful, that in a world so full of noise, goodness still cuts through like sunlight, and that's the kind of energy that makes people stay. Watch, listen, and believe that behind every headline there's a heartbeat worth knowing. And as the evening deepens and Hollywood's skyline twinkles with the shimmer of city lights, the energy of celebration lingers, not only around Ryan Reynolds' birthday, but also around the spirit of connection and authenticity that it represents. Because when Robyn Lively called him good to his core, it struck a chord far beyond family affection. It reminded fans that the world still celebrates integrity, that kindness can trend, that genuine love can shine brighter than any spotlight, and that thought loops us back to how these little moments of sincerity redefine what it means to be a star today, because while fame may start with talent, it lasts because of heart. And Ryan and Blake's story mirrors that balance in every sense. They are artists, entrepreneurs, and parents, yet they never lose that down-to-earth charm that makes them relatable. Their laughter in interviews, their witty exchanges online, their shared advocacy for causes that matter, all create this bridge between celebrity and humanity. And that's the heart of what people crave to see in a world that often feels too polished, too perfect. It's refreshing to see those who aren't afraid to be real, and that sense of authenticity flows through Hollywood. Like a quiet revolution from Zendaya, showing that youth can lead with wisdom, to Taylor Swift, proving that reinvention can be graceful, to Justin Baldoni, inspiring men to embrace vulnerability. There's a whole generation of stars building careers, not just on talent, but on truth. And when you think about it, that's exactly what connects the greats of every era. Marilyn Monroe, Audrey Hepburn, Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson. They weren't perfect, but they were unforgettable because they poured humanity into their art. And in that same way, today's stars remind us that the beauty of fame lies not in distance, but in closeness. The ability to reach people, to comfort them, to make them feel seen. And that's what Ryan Reynolds has mastered. Through his humor and humility, the way he uses laughter to soften hearts, and Blake Lively matches that energy with poise and creativity, transforming every public appearance into a moment of joy and empowerment. Whether she's attending a premiere, designing her own red carpet looks, or supporting charity work, she carries that quiet glow that tells you she's not performing. She's just being herself. And that's why fans adore her, because authenticity is magnetic. And when her sister Robyn praises Ryan, it's also a testament to the harmony they've built together as a family. A reminder that love grounded in respect radiates outward and inspires others. And while Hollywood can sometimes seem like a carousel of chaos with endless stories of breakups, controversies, and comebacks, it's these grounded bonds that keep its heartbeat steady, that remind fans that behind the cameras are people who laugh, cry, grow, and evolve, just like anyone else. And as the story of the Lively Reynolds family intertwines with others, it's impossible not to think about the ripple effect they've had. Their humor, their honesty, their support for one another. It all feeds into the broader narrative of kindness that seems to be defining this era of fame. Look at Selena Gomez, who turned pain into purpose by championing mental health awareness, or Beyoncé, whose artistry continues to uplift communities around the globe, or Zendaya, whose gentle leadership reshapes what strength looks like for young women. These stories all orbit around one central truth: that influence is most powerful when it's used for good. And it's easy to imagine how moments like Robyn's tribute remind other stars to celebrate authenticity too, because for every headline about rivalry or drama, there are a dozen quiet stories of support and love behind the scenes, and those deserve the spotlight too. And in this age of social media, where narratives can be rewritten in seconds, kindness becomes even more revolutionary. It's not loud, but it lasts. And when fans see Ryan and Blake using their platform to uplift instead of overshadow, to share laughter instead of perfection, They respond because the world is hungry for honesty, and maybe that's why their story resonates so deeply across generations, across cultures. Because kindness translates in every language and good hearts are recognized instantly, whether you're watching from New York or Seoul or London or Lagos. And as we journey further into the world of celebrity influence, it's worth noticing how many stars now lead with that same compassion, like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, whose gratitude toward fans feels genuine every single time, or Angelina Jolie, who channels her fame into humanitarian missions across continents, or even groups like BTS, who continually remind their audience to love themselves. These stories connect because they all carry the same heartbeat as Robyn's words, that quiet yet powerful recognition that goodness still matters, that authenticity is still beautiful, and that in the midst of all the noise, sincerity will always find its way through. And when we step back and look at Hollywood not as a machine of fame, but as a mosaic of human stories, it becomes clear that what endures isn't scandal or spectacle, but soul. The quiet strength of those who lead with kindness, those who treat every interaction, every fan, every colleague with respect and heart. And in that light, the Lively and Reynolds family stands as a modern symbol of balance, laughter, and love, showing us that you can have success without losing sincerity. You can be adored without acting, and you can build a legacy that lasts not just in awards, but in hearts you. And as the night stretches long into the quiet hum of the city with the stars glimmering above like memories of 1,000 dreams, it feels fitting to circle back to where it all began, to that heartfelt message from Robyn Lively calling Ryan Reynolds good to his core, because those words echo far beyond birthday wishes. They become a reflection of what makes certain stories and certain people timeless, because in a world that constantly shifts with trends and headlines and breaking news, kindness remains the one thing that never goes out of style. And that's exactly what people see when they look at Ryan and Blake. Two individuals who have built careers not just on talent and beauty, but on humanity. They've taken the spotlight and turned it into a platform for humor, generosity, and heart. They've shown that it's possible to love loudly, to parent joyfully, to give back meaningfully, and to laugh deeply, even when the world is watching. And maybe that's what true success looks like, not just the awards or the applause, but the way people talk about you when you're not in the room. The way family, friends, and fans describe your spirit. And hearing Robyn's words, it's clear that Ryan's legacy isn't just in movies or marketing genius. It's in the way he makes people feel seen and valued. It's in the way he treats everyone from his closest circle to his audience with the same easy warmth and respect. And that same sincerity radiates from Blake, whose journey, from TV star to Hollywood icon to entrepreneur and advocate, has been one long arc of empowerment. She's shown that you can grow, evolve, and stay kind through it all. And her relationship with Ryan, built on laughter and loyalty, has become one of the most beloved stories in pop culture, not because it's perfect, but because it's real. And when you think about Hollywood as a tapestry of human lives, their story becomes one bright thread among many, weaving through tales of resilience, compassion, and creativity, like Zendaya's rise from Disney beginnings to being a global voice of representation, like Taylor Swift's fearless evolution into an artist who turned her personal narrative into an anthem for millions, like Selena Gomez opening up about her mental health and using vulnerability as strength, like Beyoncé, whose music continues to empower generations to stand taller, like Dwayne Johnson reminding people that gratitude and hard work never go out of fashion, and like Angelina Jolie, who quietly continues her humanitarian missions across borders, because fame can fade, but impact endures. And maybe that's the larger truth behind Robyn's praise, that goodness, kindness, and authenticity aren't side notes to fame. They are its foundation. The reason why some stories linger longer in the collective memory, because they remind us of our shared humanity, of what it means to stay true to yourself while chasing your dreams. And that theme runs across the globe, from Hollywood to Bollywood to K-pop stages, where artists like BTS and Blackpink channel their voices to spread self-love, unity, and hope, building bridges between cultures and hearts through music and art. And all of it ties back to that same message. That fame can amplify good when the people behind it lead with purpose. And that's what makes this generation of stars so different. They're not content to be admired. They want to make a difference, to connect, to change the narrative of what celebrity can mean. And in that light, Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and their circle of kindred spirits stand as examples of fame done right, with humor, humility, and heart. And as fans scroll through images of Ryan's birthday celebration full of laughter and love, They're reminded that the most beautiful moments in life are often the simplest. A family gathering, a shared laugh, a genuine compliment from a sister. Because it's in those moments that character reveals itself. And long after, the lights fade and the headlines move on. It's those quiet truths that stay. And maybe that's what makes Hollywood's evolving story so hopeful. Because for every tale of glamour, there's one of grace. For every scandal, there's one of sincerity. And for every fleeting trend, there's a timeless reminder that kindness is the real legacy. And so as the world watches these stars shine on and off screen, it becomes clear that the future of fame is bright. Not because of the flash, but because of the heart behind it. A heart that beats in every act of compassion, every moment of laughter, every story shared between artist and audience. A heart that people like Reynolds and Blake Lively keep reminding us still exists good to the core. Just like Robyn Lively said. And as dawn rises over a quiet Los Angeles, the story of kindness continues to echo through the streets and studios where dreams are made and unmade. Because at its core, Hollywood isn't just a place. It's a reflection of humanity's greatest hopes and hardest lessons. And in that reflection, people like Reynolds and Blake Lively stand out. Not because they chase attention, but because they embody intention. Their lives are living proof that goodness and grace can exist even in the brightest light. And it's no surprise that Robyn Lively's words calling Ryan good to his core resonated far beyond social media, because they spoke to a truth. Everyone wants to believe that behind fame's glitter, there are still real hearts. Beating still people, choosing love, over ego humor, over pride, purpose, over pretense, and as fans across the world read those words, they didn't just see a celebrity couple, they saw a mirror of what we all strive to be better, kinder, more grounded, and more grateful. And what's beautiful is how their journey connects to so many others in the great constellation of stardom like Zendaya, who moves through fame with the poise of someone twice her age, always centering her work around representation. And Grace, or Taylor Swift, who continues to use her platform to uplift both fans and fellow artists with songs that celebrate vulnerability and resilience. Or Selena Gomez, whose advocacy for mental health has turned personal struggle into global healing, or Beyoncé, who uses art as activism and beauty as a form of empowerment. Each of them reminds us that the true legacy of fame isn't measured in awards or records, but in the impact made on hearts, in the change inspired by courage, and that message travels far beyond borders, carried by voices like Blackpink, who have redefined global artistry through unity and creativity, or BTS, whose music echoes self-love and perseverance, reminding millions that their worth is never defined by numbers. And all these threads of goodness weave together into something bigger than celebrity. They form a tapestry of modern culture, built on authenticity, integrity, and care. And maybe that's what Robyn Lively's praise really symbolizes. A recognition of how kindness within families, communities, and even industries can ripple outward, shaping culture itself. And as the story of Ryan and Blake unfolds, you see how effortlessly they balance personal lives and public personas, how they protect what matters while still giving generously to the world, whether through philanthropy, humor, or inspiration. And that balance is what makes them beloved. Not unreachable, but relatable. Like friends, you root for people whose laughter makes you feel lighter and whose love makes you believe in something lasting. And when fans think of Ryan's witty humor or Blake's effortless charm, they also think of the shared values that hold them together, because fame might fade, but character doesn't. And through every project they take on, whether it's a film, a business venture, or a charitable mission, they infuse it with the same energy. Robyn saw the quiet strength of being good to the core, and if you look closely, you'll see that same energy reflected in other corners of the entertainment world, in Zendaya's speeches, in John Legend's activism, in Dwayne Johnson's gratitude posts, in Angelina Jolie's humanitarian missions, in Taylor Swift's emotional storytelling. All different lights shining from the same source of sincerity, and every one of those lights matters, because together they create a constellation of hope. A reminder that goodness isn't gone from fame. It's evolving, it's expanding, and it's shaping a more compassionate version of what it means to be a public figure. And so as this long day of celebration closes with the laughter of friends, the warmth of family, and the soft hum of admiration online, we can take a moment to breathe. In what this story means that fame can coexist with kindness. That power can walk hand in hand with humility, and that maybe the future of Hollywood won't be defined by perfection, but by presence, by the people who show up with heart and humor and honesty. just like Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively do time and time again. And as the credits of this invisible documentary roll, the message remains clear. The stars who last are not the ones who burn the brightest, but the ones who warm the soul. The ones who make us believe that even in a world of cameras and crowds, there's still room for laughter, for love, and for being good to your core. If you love motivational storytelling, celebrity journeys, and cinematic narratives that feel like a friend talking to your heart, this video is for you. Comment below your favorite celebrity story and tell us who inspires you most. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to never miss more inspiring documentaries.